This is the GROMICKO's Family Vacation Guide to Northern Spain. Hi, my name is Ben, and this is the video of a family vacation that we actually took. And this is the map of our vacation. So we start in Madrid, which is the center of Spain, and we went to Segovia and then north. So all along the coast here, which is a green, wet area. The water is cold, it's fresh, and then back through Pamplona, and then Lerma, and then back to Madrid. And it's about a 3-4 week vacation. So in the video, you'll see this itinerary. And here's all the places that we stopped. So we started July 4th in Denver. We went to Reykjavík, and then Madrid. We landed in Madrid in Spain. And from there, we went to Segovia, Astorga, Quintana, and you can look all these places up. And then Pechon for a few days. And then Hoz de Abiada, Liendo for a few days, Azcona for a few days, and then we came back through Lerma and then Madrid. And then we came home through Reykjavik and then landed back in Denver because we live in Colorado. And that is the map. All right, enjoy the video. And I have a family of 5, and so I just bought some really good Patagonia travel bags. And for more information, go to thekingsguide.com, thekingsguide.com. And Patagonia makes these fantastic bags, and we didn't have real big luggage with wheels and all that stuff because we needed to be mobile. And so they're like really good bags, and we twisted these extra supports around them. And that's our going away picture. You gotta take one before you go on a big trip with your family. And we were so excited, we were climbing trees. And that's the Denver airport, just waiting for the airplane to take us to Reykjavik. And we went to Reykjavík, Iceland, and the trip is really nice. And you know, if you have some computers or entertainment, that's always a benefit. And here's Reykjavik, Iceland's airport, very easy, not very crowded, huge places to chill out and grab your bags. Make sure you're in the right line. If you don't have a passport, you got to stand in this lane, and you don't want to do that. And make sure if you rent a car that you take pictures of all the dents. And then what we did was we chilled out for a few hours in Reykjavik at the Blue Lagoon. And this is the walk to the Blue Lagoon through the lava. And it's really cold, but it feels really good to go from very cold, windy air in Reykjavik to a fantastic Blue Lagoon, natural hot water coming from the ground. And it looks like there's a lot of people there, but it isn't. It's really nice. And we just had a great time just floating around. And there are bridges and walkways, and there's plenty of different kinds of pools to go and relax, and there's swim-up bars for food and drinks of all kind. And it's just amazing. The deposits on the side make everything nice and smooth, but the lava rocks are right there. And it's a very modern facility, and everyone's just really relaxed, chilled out, and children are welcome there. You can see children in floaties. And the inside is just a modern place. And they have a little restaurant inside, and that's the Blue Lagoon. And driving to the airport to get back on a plane to go to Madrid. It was a nice flight, very short from Reykjavik.
Hi, I'm Ben GROMICKO, and this is a vacation guide to traveling in northern Spain. And we're starting the guide in Segovia. And Segovia is a town about 1 hour north of Madrid. So if you fly into Spain, you'll land in Barcelona or Madrid or maybe Portugal and drive over. But if you land in Madrid, you just go 1 hour north and you're in Segovia. And Segovia is a great town with a lot of features that we'll show you where to get some great food and what to see. And there's a cathedral and a castle. And right now I'm on the edge of the town, and the town is surrounded by an old wall, security wall. And they built the wall around the town. And I'm on the edge of one right now. And the nice part about Segovia is you often find these small little gardens every once in a while and parks. And it's a really beautiful place to relax and enjoy the view, which is really nice. So let's keep walking around the edge of town and we'll head towards the castle.
And you got to take pictures of the family. Against the architecture, I really enjoyed walking around in Segovia, and the architecture is just beautiful. The masonry is amazing, and these are residential homes. And one of the things you want to do when you're walking around in Segovia is get off the tourist path and go down the streets and alleys and take a look at the architecture. And many streets are narrow and beautiful, and as a home inspector and a teacher, I really like to look at the details of the architecture and how things are built. The privately owned houses are maintained just beautifully. The arches are really amazing, and the walkways, these are streets, but they're like sidewalks, and they're kind of narrow. And as you're walking down the streets, take a look down. It's as if the streets were built a long time ago by the Romans. And we did a lot of walking in Segovia. It's a really beautiful place to walk and take pictures. Beautiful architecture. So we're at another garden area, and this garden is in front of the castle of Segovia, and the castle of Segovia is at the tip of the town, and it's strategically placed because it's a castle. The sides are surrounded by walls and cliffs, so it's a great place to go. It's at the far end of the town, and we'll go backwards. We'll start here essentially and then walk to the aqueduct. But for every little area that has a garden, there's usually a statue in Segovia. And it's a beautiful garden, but this one is in front of the castle. So let's go see the castle right now. And it's right here. And so here's the castle of Segovia at the northern tip of Segovia. And just for a few euros, you can take a tour within the castle, and it is well worth it. There's a lot of history, obviously, in Spain, and a lot of things took place within the castle itself. It was built, and then it burned down, and they rebuilt it. And they say that Disney took inspiration from this design of the castle. And there's actually a moat around it, so don't fall through. So we're on the edge of the wall around the town of Segovia. The castle is over there. And you can walk around the entire town following the wall, either above the wall like I am now, or down below. And there's a nice trail and gardens along the way. It'll take you a couple hours to actually circumnavigate the town. But again, it's just a beautiful place to be. Just don't fall over.
we could do, we could get mommy sitting, just her, and then we could Photoshop her in.
So in the square, you just grab a table and you sit down, and a waiter will come over, and you say something like, "May I have a drink?" If you order a couple wines and a couple drinks, then you may get a free tapas or a free plate of sandwiches, just like we did. So you say, "Me gustaría una cerveza, a beer, or una vino tinto, or limonada." And then you can take it from there and start ordering food. Maybe tapas and tosta. Some tapas on toast. It's pretty easy. Give it a try. And you'll probably begin your tour of Segovia at the aqueduct, but we ended here. So here's the aqueduct, built, a couple thousand years ago by the Romans, by slaves really, and no mortar involved. And this is a popular destination for people who are looking to learn a little bit about Segovia. And this is a large section of the aqueduct in town. And it's pretty amazing. You can't walk on it, but you can get up to the top of it and take a look. And it's a really nice picture.
There's the aqueduct. It's amazing. It is the main attraction in Segovia. But the buildings are also beautiful. And this is the main square. And in Spain, every town, regardless of size, has a main square, the main plaza, where the vendors come out with a lot of food, and there's restaurants surrounding the square, and there's music taking place within the square, and everyone just hangs out in the main square. That's one of our favorite restaurants, by the way. And the menus are on the front of the window. And the prices are very affordable. So those are euros there. And it's amazing, delicious food for wonderful prices, especially for my family. So if you wanted to have a family vacation, the most costly thing, as always, on any trip with your family is the air flight. The cost of the food in Segovia and all the other northern Spain towns is very affordable. And we were the tourists of the place that were from out of town, it seemed like.
Replay.
Oh, replay. I don't mind.
And it's such a beautiful place. The kids had a lot of fun, and there's just a lot to do and eat and just chill out. And in northern Spain, it is a different culture, and you just sit back and relax and enjoy. And there are churches, and you can take a free tour or pay to go in special areas of the church, like the tower. And the architecture is just amazing. So this is the main cathedral in Segovia, and it's breathtaking, really. That's the front door. That's the front gate. And that's the organ and the seats for the religious folk and leaders. And it's beautiful. And I can imagine the masons chiseling away, and the woodworkers and the iron workers working together on building these amazing structures, including the doors. And then we took a tour of the castle inside with a guide, and that is the actual king. And king and queen sat there. And then the restaurants. The restaurants are so wonderful to visit. And just don't be afraid. Find a bar, a tavern, a restaurant, and go for it. And all you need to do to survive in Spain is know about 30 sentences. And you could eat these delicious tapas where you get a plate and they just load up a couple scoops of wonderful, delicious food. And the basics is to just say hello, which is hola and buenas, or buenos dias. I ordered red wine for my wife and I, and there's the Spanish sentence for ordering 2 red wines. And when you order 2 wines, they give you food. So you order a couple wines and they give you a plate of food. You don't have to identify everything and know the name of everything. You just say, I would like this and that. And you use your finger and you point. And here's one of the places that we stayed. We used Airbnb, and the thunder and lighting were just wonderful, actually. So when it rained, we stayed inside. But bring an umbrella. The weather changes pretty fast, but when it rains, it really does come down. And northern Spain is cool, and there are rainstorms in the summertime, and some of them are very large. So you'll need a sweater for cool weather, and maybe some extra socks because it is wet. It is a wet climate. But after the rain goes away, you come back out with your umbrella and you keep going and visiting and just having lots of fun visiting restaurants. And there's music at night and they light up everything in the square. This is the main square. People are drinking and dancing and eating. And remember, in Spain, the culture is dinner starts at about 8, 9, about 10 o'clock you start eating dinner. Restaurants won't open until 7:30, 8 o'clock. So not a lot of people in July in Segovia. And we found out that the tourists that are there are from southern Spain, visiting northern Spain. Not many people from international countries, and not many English-speaking people, which was the best for us. Beautiful cathedral. Absolutely gorgeous. Magnificent. And they light up the aqueduct in Segovia, which has been standing for thousands of years. No mortar. And they had a huge stage set up for bands and music and dancing and a concert for several nights straight. So enjoy being up late, eating late, and dancing and listening to music and enjoying yourself in the evening.
Well,
Look at that with the view, with the moon.
yeah.
And there's the moon.
Man,
Isn't that pretty?
We eat lots of ice cream at night. It's one of the things that you do at night after dinner. And you're just walking around with everyone, enjoying the evening air. And the next morning, you continue on your way through the town. There's a main street where everyone walks through town. And there's a little hill where there's some more architecture. And you go up on the hill, and on top of the hill, there's another part of the town where you can walk, from restaurant to restaurant, top-up bar to top-up bar. And just be careful of the traffic. And the parks are beautiful. And it seems like every town in northern Spain has a park with a water fountain that's always flowing with water. And stay on the sidewalk because sometimes the traffic, fast-moving car will come by. And the streets are narrow and the townhouses are very tall and just beautiful architecture. So keep everyone safe on the sidewalk. And the next town was Astorga. And we lived up there. We found the Airbnb with a beautiful balcony right next to the main church. So again, there's the town square. Every town has a square and a church or a cathedral, and there's Astorga. And it's a small place to stay overnight. Not much to do in Astorga, but there are restaurants and a square and a cathedral. It's a good place to break up and chill out and relax and acclimate. And there's our favorite cafe. And we just had a great time. The weather was beautiful. When the sun comes out, it is warm and fantastic. And there's so many places to go grocery shopping. So we would pick up some food and take it back to our place and make our own little snacks. And then we went north to the cathedrals, which is the northern shore of Spain. And it looks like this. You've got to check out the cathedrals, which are just beautiful rock formations along the northern coast of Spain.
And it's a wet climate, and it's a cool climate, even in July and August. And the water is cold. They call it fresh, but it's cold. But it's really beautiful. And so many days were cloudy days. Some days were rainy, but not everything. And honestly, you get used to the water. So it's cool, but once you jump in, you can stay in the water for like 10 minutes with no problem. And some beaches are wonderful
because the water is shallow for such a long time. For 100 feet or so, it'll be very shallow, the water. And some beaches are perfect for surfing because of the waves. So this is where we are. The cathedrals are in northern Spain, northern coast, and this is essentially our furthest westernmost point in the west. And what I do is I use Google Maps to find where we wanted a vacation. And all along northern Spain are these wonderful beaches and farmland and small towns and harbors. And it's just a great place to visit. And we went exploring and walking. That's Pablo. I met Pablo. He's on top of the cliff above the water. And oh, this is one of our favorite beaches. It's basically not a sandy beach. There are sandy beaches along the northern coastline, but there are many gravel or stone rock beaches. And this one is a beautiful one. Again, the King's Guide is a website for more information. It's one of my websites. And it was not a sunny day, but it was really beautiful. And we just listened to the waves hit the stones. Sounds simple, sounds a little silly, but hey, you're on vacation and it's time to just chill out and listen to the waves. And the enormous amount of stones that were rounded was just staggering and beautiful. And the water there, when the sun comes out, the water is crystal clear and blue. So bring a sweater. It's cool. Bring some shoes for the water so you can walk in the water without hurting your bare feet. And you can collect some stones and other things on the beach. And here's a farm road where we found an Airbnb in a small town right next to the coastline. And the flowers are just beautiful. All kinds of flowers. It's the green part of Spain, the northern part of Spain, above the mountains, along the coast, is very green and lush. So again, use Google Maps. And here's where we found a place to stay. There's a highway that runs all along the coast, and we just stuck to that highway. And Luarca is a great town. Quintana is a small town. And you get off the highway, turn left, and go north. And here's where we found a great place to stay. And Gijón is to the east. And if you keep going east, there are the mountains there below, and then Santander and Bilbao and San Sebastian. And then there's France, Bayonne. Here's where we stayed. And every morning, the host made us American breakfasts. Now, in Spain, they really don't eat breakfast. A breakfast in Spain, traditional Spanish breakfast, is some coffee and a pastry, like a croissant. That's it. And we found more places that were just beautiful. And the cliffs are very high. So if you wanted to get down to the beach, it's a bit of a walk. And when the tide goes in, it's really a lot of fun to watch. So there's an area here where it was just a lot of fun to watch the tide come in all the way in, because the land is shallow and the beach and the shoreline is flat. So when the tide comes in, the water goes in hundreds of feet and does some amazing things that are a lot of fun to observe. Find a cafe, your favorite cafe, and just chill. Here's where we stayed. Beautiful place. And when the sun came out, the flowers just popped. So in northern Spain, all along northern Spain, it's just like this. So if you're going to spend a few days at a place and explore northern Spain, my recommendation is to find one place and stay there for several days and several nights and enjoy everything that you can. And you'll find that when you're not watching TV and you're just spending time with the family, learning a new culture, a different language, you get to stop and smell the roses or the flowers. And just watching bees tends to be a very peaceful, enjoyable thing. And this is why we came to northern Spain, to enjoy the culture, to learn the culture, and to enjoy the land along the coast, and the food, and the people, and to really just unplug and relax and enjoy.
We're in northern Spain on a beach in northern Spain called the Beach of the Caves, and there are caves all around us. And this is a typical beach in Spain where it's so shallow that on low tide the water is really far away, and on high tide it comes in really far, and the waves are really nice, and the sand is very soft, and the waves are easy to ride, and you can rent boards and suits to keep yourself warm because the water is a bit cold. But it is this is a typical beach in northern Spain. It's really beautiful. Spend the whole day here. Oh, and also if it's a popular beach, there'll be a place to eat as you come in and get some beer and wine and really great food. But make sure you call ahead and make a reservation. They typically want a reservation.
This is the typical northern beach with very few people on the beach. Not many tourists along the northern coast of Spain. The folks here live here, and they're just enjoying their beach at their town. And there's that receding water now, low tide, where the water goes out, and it will go out for 100 or 200 feet. And it's just wonderful to play in because the water is shallow and it makes these amazing patterns in the sand. There are the caves. So you can spend days here just exploring with the family, going through the landscape while enjoying the scenery, just beautiful water coming in. So this is a great example of just one beach, one inlet cove where there's a beach and the water just comes in for hundreds of feet. And there are hundreds of these along the coast of northern Spain. That's what it looks like from the road. And here's the town, Quintana. My favorite supermarket, and in the back there is a restaurant. So you can sit in the front and have some cappuccino, or go in the back to the restaurant and they have these amazing drinks for the family. There's my host, and there's her beach. So where we were staying at the Airbnb place, just walk down to the beach, there's a trail, and the goats are there, the mountain goats. We found mountain goats. And that is straight up. The rock formations, the patterns, the colors, the touch, the feel of it is just mind-boggling. It was very interesting. The different colors and the sounds of the waves coming. Very peaceful. And the rock surfaces, you can imagine the water just pounding these coastlines. And the rocks are, some of them are jagged because the water got to the edges and chipped away at them. And some of the edges are very smooth because the water has been just rubbing them away. for thousands of years, millions of years. And there's our local donkey. Oh, this is a great restaurant. Our favorite restaurant in Quintana. Fantastic food. There's father and son. There we are there. They were wonderful. And there's our hosts where we stayed in Quintana. And then there's this beautiful place with a little chapel, church. And the coastline again is just a draw. And there's the fountain again, running water. They used to put grains up there. And we're back into the cafe, and we're getting to know local people who are telling us where to go. So our next stop is Pechon, and there's a very modern, fancy restaurant in the town, which is great to stay in. Oh, here's some extra pictures of the coastline. We went to Playa del Amillo, and that's our first day, and it was a cloudy day, and the water was cold, but we spent hours there. And another horse in Pechon, and we went up into the Picos de Europa mountains. It's the mountains of Spain, and there's a church and a cathedral, some great architecture, fantastic. The stone was like pink, as a statue of a very famous person. So there's Gijón, and there are the mountains, snow-capped mountains, and Covadonga is where we went, and it's a little town, a little place to go, where there's a cathedral in the mountains. It's in a valley, but it's up in the mountains. And if you keep going, you get to the snow-capped mountains, Picos de Europa, the points, and there's the mountains there, and there's the coastline. So when you're standing in the ocean, you can look out at the mountains, and you'll see the mountains from the ocean water and the shoreline. And there's where we went. It's a fantastic place to go, very magical. Covadonga. There's the Holy Cave. And it's up in the side of a mountain. And there's the cathedral there on the top of the mountain. And what do you say to two old men sitting on a park bench? Slide over. So I just found some old men and I started a conversation. I don't know how to speak Spanish. I only know 100 words or so, but I went for it. Here's another fantastic, beautiful beach no one knows about, and we found a church. And the moss was fantastic, and the church was built into the side of the mountain. And it was locked. I don't think it's being used. But it's just an amazing find. There's the interior through the door window. And that's the beach. Different kind of sand, an orange sand, a browny, gritty sand, but beautiful. And the tides went in and out, made some great patterns. And then there's the market. Great place to have gelato. We love ice cream, so gelato is in Spain. And there's the town there. And It's built, these towns are built for, if you wanted to drive, you could, but everything's in walking distance. So if you rent a car, you can drive along beautiful highways in northern Spain from town to town and stop and walk within the towns. And this is obviously our favorite yogurt place, frozen yogurt. And that's amazing. I think that is built for tourists, just like us. I don't think the locals eat like that. And again, northern Spain is green. And here's that beach that we saw previously. Now it's a sunny day. So there's Gijón, there's Santander, and it's in the middle there. So if you zoom in, Google Maps, in 3D, there it is. So this is how I picked the place. I just used Google Maps to find a place that had a beach and a small town next to it with a restaurant or a cafe. And this is just an amazing little place, nudged up against the mountain. And they have a cliff, but a trail or a path that comes down to the beach. And every day we went swimming. And every day we had lunch there. So there'll be a little restaurant or someone with food and beer. And then for dinner, you could have a fancy restaurant dinner there in town. And the food is delicious. Octopus and fish. One of our favorite restaurants there. And there's the kitchen. And this is a drive through the town. So we rented a car again, drove along the northern coastline, and the towns are in a small car. I mean, we have a family of 5, and so we had a minivan essentially, and it was perfect. And in Spain, you drive on the right side of the road, and you follow the signs, and it's pretty easy to do. And this is our favorite grocery store, but it was closed. And that's our favorite restaurant. And then we went driving along the northern coast, where it's very rural. Not many large towns or cities, and away from the coastline. And we went into the hillside and into the mountains. And the cows wear bells. So we pulled off and listened to the cows. You can hear the bells. And that's what it looks like along the northern coast, away, just a little bit away from the coastline, the shoreline. There are mountains and rolling hills and farms, and within the valleys there are little towns. And watch out, because there are cattle just all over the place. And it's just a beautiful ride. So within, a 10 to 20 minute drive, you get to go from beach to tall mountains, or rural areas where there's rolling hills and farmland. Our favorite restaurant, David is the owner and chef. And we had a lot of fun there.
I bet it's a video.
Very small town, the main restaurant, and we just had amazing food. Great tapas. And we found a mountain, hiked to the very top of it, and watched the cattle. And so again, I was just very interested in the architecture because every town had a cathedral or a church and a water fountain with running fresh water and a date and a lot of old things. And that just was very interesting to us. So we walked around every town through the streets. And in Spain, they build their homes to last hundreds of years. And here's a dam that we found in a valley. Above it, a small town. And everything is slow. The pace is very slow there. So you find your favorite cafe and you just rest. Take it easy. Go for a walk. Found a modern bridge across a river. And found another church. And the fog rolled in. Just an amazing sight. So much fun. Just rolled in off the mountain, it seemed like, coming down into the valley, into the town. I think it was more than just a church. It was like a fortress, a tower. And we found a favorite restaurant again, a little cafe. And everything is in small portions called tapas. So you order small plates and you share small plates of food. And patatas bravas was our favorite. So there's tostas, there's things on bread and toasted, and there's the menus there. Jamón is ham or prosciutto. It's our favorite place to eat. Just delicious food. And there they are, our hosts. And that's where we stayed, and that's the coastline. Back to the coastline, found a little beach. And Liendo is another town that we stayed at, and the restaurants there serve delicious seafood. The seafood along all of northern Spain is fresh, right out of the water and delicious. And here's a parking lot in Bilbao. We wanted to visit Bilbao to see the town, the people, the city is fantastic. Everything's in walking distance, so we rented a car and found a garage and parked there, and then just walked. The houses are just beautiful. And then we found the biggest market there and just had a wonderful experience in seeing the marketplace. You can just grab one of those for less than €1 and nibble all the way around. So it was a lot of fun. Amazing food. Again, the seafood is just fantastic, and the jamón, and the meats, and the cheeses, and the olives, and the tapas. Just amazing amount of delicious food and drink and people. And the people were just so much fun to be with. And there we are in Bilbao. Beautiful architecture. There's a river that goes through the town. And you walk along the river. And we're getting to art. There's a sculpture there. And there's the museum, the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao. You have to go see the Guggenheim Museum. It's a fantastic experience. And there's the dog of flowers. And the spider. And the trains, they run right across grass. You don't even know, it looks like you're in a park, but here comes a train right across the park. Oh, the dancers came out while we were having a little lunch, some tapas and some wine. And again, the city was great. Oh, Camino de Santiago, which is a path that a saint took. And there's a lot of history involved. And it takes an entire month to walk the whole thing. But we Airbnb'd a house right along the path. And we actually got to meet people from all over the world who are walking this journey. And it's a spiritual journey. And it takes such a long time. But you get to meet people from all over the world. And along the way, you get to pick plums and fruits and enjoy the scenery and have fun. And people walk with sticks, and there's arrows to show you where to go. And look for people hiking with a backpack and a clamshell on their back. And that's the sign that they are taking that path. Again, we found a little restaurant and had a lot of fun. And the harbors are fantastic. You can rent a boat at a harbor or just enjoy the fishermen there. And again, there's that cathedral or fortress, sometimes both, in the same town to protect the town. And they're hundreds of years old. And the town here is just beautiful, beautiful architecture. Top notch, fantastic, and very safe. We walked the streets, we walked everywhere, and had no issues at all. It's very walk friendly. Walkability is very high. And the beaches, careful, if there's parking, you probably have to pay for parking. Don't get a ticket. And then you can go to a beach and then you rent a tent, an umbrella, a chair, whatever you would like. Or you don't have to. You just bring your towel or nothing and just go right into the water. And buy little trinkets or some food and water there. There are bathrooms. Azcona is another town, and we had an Airbnb there. And Azcona is a very small town with maybe 30 houses, and Azcona is next to a larger town for like the supermarket. But this is the small town here, and the architecture, again, every town has a church. I don't know how they did it, but this is hundreds of years old, this architecture, these homes, these buildings. The stone is worn out in areas, that in an amazing pattern. And it's just beautiful. It's like you're back 1,000 or 2,000 years, and it's still standing. And this is architecture. These are buildings in a small town of Azcona of 50 homes. 50 people, 50 families live here. And there's a square where every morning the baker drives in, beeps, and brings in fresh food, eggs, milk, and baked goods. And there's our house there. And every morning you get your things that you want for the day. Nothing really more than that. And that's how you get your food. Here's a beach and a lake, and it's blue because of algae, but we swam in it anyways. And make sure you get a ticket for parking. Otherwise, you'll get a ticket for not getting that parking ticket. And Ascona is a small town again on top of a hill, and just a lot of wonderful olive trees, wonderful things to look at and relax with your family and chill out and explore. Just go exploring every day with your camera. That's what I did. I was very interested in how they built structures 1,000 years ago, because this hasn't moved. You gotta make coffee. Oh, and rainbow. The rainbows are amazing. Then we went to San Sebastian, which is near the border of France. And there's beautiful half moon beach there. And a cafe. And it was raining. Rainy, cloudy day. So we really didn't go in the water very much. Then we went to Pamplona, where the running of the bulls are. It's actually the walking of the people. So we went after the running of the bulls event, and the town was very quiet. There's hard work there about the bull run, but you could take the same path that the bulls take and walk it, and that's what we did in Pamplona. So Pamplona is a big city, but part of the city is small, where you can enjoy the walk and the restaurants along the path. And the architecture is just gorgeous and beautiful. The city and the town is very safe. And the candy shops. So we're in Pamplona and we're walking.
That's not my whistle.
And very clean streets. They have a underground garbage system where you throw your garbage in these containers.
Do you know these go down into the street? Underneath?
No.
Yep.
See?
The recycling goes
Really?
down. Yeah.
Tell the story.
That's what Natasha
And we're
said.
eating ice cream again.
Look.
So in Pamplona, a lot of tourists having a lot of fun from all over the world. So we met people from all over the world in Pamplona. It's more of an attraction of international travelers. And there's the main square, or one of the main squares. Plazas. Here's our favorite place to eat. That was delicious. And so was that. And my children, I encouraged them to go up to the bar and order in Spanish their food. And they did so well. Very proud of them. And we had challenging moments sometimes with parking in garages and the idea of getting tickets, the parking tickets. So you get your ticket as you come in, or sometimes when you leave, or after you park, you get a ticket so that you can leave the parking garage. And so I thought it was important to show you how we actually leave. So here's our ticket here.
Introduce your ticket.
Buen viaje.
That's it.
Where's the button?
Buen viaje. Goodbye.
Then the gate opens up and you can get out. So you come in, find a parking space. You can even reserve a parking space ahead of time online. You park, and when you want to leave, you go to you go to a ticket place, you get your ticket, you put the ticket in, and the door opens up and you can leave. Adios.
Adios.
And here we are driving along the rural areas of Spain. You can see those beautiful, big, tall mountains and the flat rolling hills with the farms. And we went to Lerma. This is on our way back to Madrid. We're basically done with the vacation and we're getting back to Madrid to take off to come back home. And we stop in a small town called Lerma. And at night, it is a classical Spanish town. And it's lit up, very safe. And the stone streets are wonderful to walk in. And so you walk and you try to find a little place to stay. There's our favorite pastry place, bakery. And during the night is just a lot of fun. And now we're back in Iceland and we're heading back home. And so we stay in Iceland, in Reykjavík in Iceland. And that's a lot of fun. A lot of international travelers, and it's very busy. A lot of people here. There's Leif Erikson. And this is our favorite place to get a sandwich and some pastries and coffee. And we just get an Airbnb in Reykjavik, stay overnight, and we hop a flight back to our home in Denver. Delicious food in Reykjavik. And that is our family vacation guide to northern Spain. For more information, visit thekingsguide.com. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Catch you next time.